Hi guys, it's Anne here, and in today's video we're going to talk about the Rimmel Magnifies Crimson Edition palette. This is a 12 pan palette. I bought this at the end of 2018, so November 2018. It's very red toned. It's I think similar to the Cherry palette from Urban Decay. I could be wrong. Rimmel also has a bunch of other palettes like this. I think there's one that's a heat edition, or no, it's called Spice, I think, and it's again a dupe of the Urban Decay Heat. I don't have the Heat palette, so I'm not 100% sure. Again, I'm not 100% sure if this is an actual dupe for anything. But yeah, so we're just going to review this palette today. This is sort of in my monthly palette roulette, so I wanted to play with this in depth a little bit more and do some looks with it. So what we'll do first is I'll just show some swatches of the palette, and then we'll hop into 3 different looks. I did sort of a everyday look, a very pink tone look because this is like a pinky reddish palette, and then a bit more of a intense look, just playing around to see what I can come up with. So this palette's very colorful when you look at it. It's very red tone, but I wanted to try and do a very simple sort of everyday look using about 4 shades in here. I'm going to pull out this light shade on the end, this sort of pinky brown shade, not this one, this one. It's brown, but it's got a bit of a pink undertone, this mid-tone brown, and then the deep brown on the end. So we're just going to start off with a big fluffy brush and that mid-tone pinky brown, not the mid-tone, the lighter pinky brown, and put that all over the lid. You can see it shows up more pink on the eye. I'm just going to dust that all over lightly on the lid just to give it a bit of a pink undertone, but nothing too noticeable by the time the look is done. Okay, I'm going to take another brush and I'm going to take the mid-tone brown and sort of pack that on the outer third. Again, this is just going to be a really quick, simple, everyday look. And then taking that big fluffy brush again, just blend. And sweep that into the crease a little bit. Okay, now we're going to take the lightest shade in the palette, taking a little flat brush here, and we're going to pack that on, starting on the inner and then blending it out over the lid. So we're packing it in on the inner corner and then sweeping it out. Again, with that big fluffy brush, just sort of blending in on the middle a little. Okay, now I'm going to take a smaller brush and take that really deep brown and start working that on the outer third, or sort of like, not quite a wing, but I'll just do, it's easier to do than describe, but sort of like start here and start. It's almost as if I'm doing a very rough wing. And just gently sort of blend that. And sort of blending it into the crease a little bit. Just for fun, I'm going to take that little small brush and that really, the first shade, and I'm just going to lightly For some reason I've been really into doing this again. I haven't done it for years, but like highlighting the brow bone. I think it's because my Pan That palette has a shade that looks really nice when you do that. So I'm gonna really back into that a little. And then just take the big fluffy brush just to make sure things are seamlessly blended. And then I'm gonna take a small brush and just blend some of that brown shade into the lower lash line. The deepest brown shade. And for this look, I'm not even gonna do liner. I'm just gonna curl my lashes and put mascara on. And again, just using the Big Ego mascara from Tarte. And just to finish off the look, I'm going to use a Rimmel lipstick. This is the Rimmel, the only one lipstick in It's a Keeper, number 200. And that's it. That's the simple sort of everyday look you can get out of that palette, which I know it doesn't look like you could do that, but once you take a look at it, you can realize, oh yeah, there's a number like just neutral, or I don't want to say neutral because they all seem to have a slight pink undertone to them. So if you definitely don't like pinks, like if pink is not a good color for your complexion, just steer clear of this palette. So for this look, we're going to get started with this sort of sable beige pinky shade here. I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush and brush that sort of all up in the crease here, very lightly. So my one gripe about this palette is there's really no lighter skin tone for me kind of shade. Like a nice blending brow bone shade. So I may need to pull in a shade like that later. Next, we're going to go in with this light pink shade. I'm going to take a smaller brush. This is the Unit 201 brush. And I'm going to start working that in the crease, starting from the outside. And then bringing it in. I'm just going to take the big fluffy brush and the first color we used, just lightly tap it in, and then blend again. Now I'm going to take this color that's next to that light pink color. It's sort of a cranberry shade, I would say. Fuchsia-y cranberry. We're going to start off with sort of a flat brush. This was just some random flat brush from Marshall's. Probably supposed to be a concealer brush. And we're going to start tapping it all over the lid. Just blending it up into that pink shade. Just to increase the intensity a little bit more, I'm gonna wet my brush. I'm just using the e.l.f. Dewy Setting Mist, just closer to the lash line. Amp that up. I'm just going to take a big fluffy brush into that pink shade that we used in the middle. And just again, lightly dust that over the middle to blend. And then back into that cranberry shade. And again, lightly dust for blending. Wipe that brush off, and then I'm just, again, blending, all the blending. Now I'm just going to take a little angled brush and into this shade right here, sort of like a deep burgundy shade. Just work that into the lash line. Get some fallout with the shade. Just kind of wing it out a little. Just ever so slightly. Okay, now we're just going to go in with one of my favorite liners. This is the Urban Decay Rockstar liner. It's like a deep purple. We're going to line the waterline all the way around. Okay, we're just going to take a small brush. Go with this little guy right here. So we're going to go into this shade for the lower lash line. This is the shade that we used on the lid, but I'm going to go into this one because it's a little less red. So it'll hopefully maybe balance out and not make my eyes look too red. And just start smudging that in. Just using that same brush, I'm going to go in with the pink shade that we used and add that as well. Using that same brush, I'm using my little Baramona switch. I'm going to go into this shade here and do an outer corner or inner corner highlight. And then with that big fluffy brush, I'm going to just gently tap into that color and gently sweep it right up at the crease, or right up at the brow. Very lightly. Now we'll just curl the lashes and using the Big Ego Tarte Mascara. So there's this very pink and reddish toned look using the Rimmel palette. So on my lips, I just use the Clinique Chubby Stick in the shade Super Strawberry, this little guy right here. I didn't want the lips to compete too much with the eyes. I wanted them to kind of seamlessly go together. So yeah, that's that look. So for this third look, I'm going to do a bit more of a smoky, deep brown look, but I don't really know yet what I'm going to do, so we're just going to play with this one and see what comes out of it. I'm going to start off using this shade right here. I'm going to take a smallish fluffy brush. We're going to start right here and then blend that in and up. And then sweep it up. I'm going to take this pink shade here and start putting that on the lid. I think I'm going to wet my brush. That looks really cool. I'm going to take the first brush I used in that second shade and just lightly put it on the outside here, and again sort of smoke it out. Okay, using that same flat brush, again make sure it gets wet. I'm going to go into the first shade we used and start blending that in here. The shades are very similar. I really don't know where I'm going with this. Okay, using the same brush, I'm going to go into this golden shade here that I haven't used yet. I think this is like one of the weaker shades I can remember, at least swatching. Sorry, and we're putting that on the inner corner, if you couldn't tell. You know what song I have in my head? Just Dance by Lady Gaga. Played that at my friend's 40th birthday. It used to be one of our favorite songs way back when we were in university. I think university, could be after university. Anyway, it was a fun dance song. That's what I call it, Just Dance. It's going over and over and over in my mind right now. Earworm. I'm gonna take that fluffy brush and just blend some of this out. Now I'm going to go in with a small brush, and this sort of shade here, I don't think I've used this one yet. It's kind of an in-between, it's like a reddish brown. And we're going to lightly tap into that and start deepening this outer corner a little. Let's Smoking it out. I'm going to start bringing that down under the eye. Alright, I'm going to take that second shade that we used, the pink shade right here, and blend that in under the eye. Focus. Alright. Okay, I'm going to take the Milani Stay Put liner in Hooked on Espresso and line my lash line, as well as give myself a bit of liner on the top. And I'm just going to take an angle brush and go over that liner with a very deep brown shade on the end, just to smudge this out a little. So take that small brush and that gold shade and work it around and underneath. Big fluffy brush, one last final blend. Curl in my lashes. Tarte Big Eagle mascara. We use the entire time. And there's the final third look. I'm not sure I'm loving this one, but it was fun to play with the colors a little differently and try something a little different. So, and what I'm wearing on my lips is another Rimmel lipstick. This is the Rimmel lipstick in the Lasting Finish lipstick range. And this is the shade 050 Paradise. So that's what that looks like. It's one of my favorite lipsticks. Like, this is a lipstick I could wear every day, all day. I did blot it down so it's not as intense. But yeah, that's it. So my quick summary of this palette, it's obviously very monochromatic. Even the browns in this palette all have like a reddish, pinkish undertone. So if you don't like reds or pinks, just steer clear from this palette. Like, this is clearly not your jam. You're not gonna like it. For my overall preference, I find it skews maybe a little dark. I would prefer if it had a bit more lighter tones in it. Just to make this like a palette that I could use like all together, I feel like I have to bring in other palettes with it to really feel like I'm utilizing this palette. So for example, I am wearing it right now, but I did combine it with my Pan That palette, which is the NYX Ultimate warm neutrals palette. So yeah, this is how I would probably use this palette on a daily basis. All I did was, the only two colors I used in this palette were these two, and I just sort of mixed them together, and then I mixed it with sort of some neutral shades from the NYX palette just to sort of, again, neutralize the pinks in this. So if this is a palette that you are interested in, like if these are colors that you're interested in and you don't have anything else like this, I think it's reasonable to pick it up. It's only, you can get it for like $9.99 in Canada. It does, I think I've seen like Rexall posted for like $17.99 or some crap like that, but you can almost always find it on sale at some point for $9.99. If this color story is not for you, or you have other colors that are similar in other palettes, then I just wouldn't bother. The quality of this is okay. It's not like out of this world, but it's not bad for like $9.99. It's definitely like worth the money, if that makes sense. But yeah, I enjoy playing with this palette. This is definitely like my colors. Like I like pinks and reddish tones. For some reason I think pinks look really good with like green and blue eyes, so that's just what I think. I don't know if that's true. But yeah, I'm happy with this palette. The only thing I said again is maybe like I feel like these two colors are too similar and these two colors are too similar. Like well, actually all three of these are kind of like, they're all so similar. I think they could have done a better job adding a bit more diversity, like still staying in the pink and red tones, but just adding more versatility by like changing it up, or adding in like maybe like a light neutral shade to like help blend. But yeah, it's not a bad little palette, and I had fun playing with this, and I feel like all the looks turned out pretty decent. So I kind of felt like the quality of this was maybe not so great, but you know, it's still workable. It's still a pretty decent palette. If you like this video, feel free to give it a little thumbs up down below, and I would love it if you did subscribe to my tiny little channel here in Toronto, Canada. I hope you have a fabulous day, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye!